Hello everyone, and welcome to AWS Innovation. Let me present my screen, and then we'll get started. Okay, so welcome to Innovation. All right, so to start off, we're going to talk about what design thinking is. Design thinking is a method that is mainly used for the purpose of comprehending people, questions, problems, and/or solutions. It's used to turn ideas into physical and evaluable products as soon as possible. And the design thinking framework itself consists of immersion, ideation, and implementation. All right, so there are 5 actual stages of the design thinking process. All right, let's start over. Okay, so to start off, what is design thinking? So design thinking is a method that is mainly used for the purpose of comprehending people, questions, problems, and solutions. It's used to turn ideas into physical and evaluable products as soon as possible. And the design thinking framework is made of immersion, ideation, and implementation. So there are 5 stages of the design thinking process. They're not always followed in a specific order, but it consists of empathizing, defining, ideating, prototype, and testing. So for empathize, it's where you discover your target audience and you learn more about your audience, such as their problems and necessities. For define, it's where you determine a problem statement, focus on users' needs, and realize that problem statement is a guiding tool. For ideate, it's where you collaborate with others with different areas of expertise. And in this case, when you're doing it, you want quantity over quality. And prototype, so the goal is to create a product that can be evaluated and critiqued. And obviously, your prototype is going to be one of your first attempts at the final product. And then the test is where the users are going to provide feedback that will help determine if your solution is viable. So you're going to actually test it in the wild. And it's going to save money in the long term because you'll be able to identify your mistakes early. All right, now we're going to be talking about the Cloud Innovation Center, or CIC. So this creates a chance for nonprofit institutions, education services, and government departments to work with other public sector companies. They collaborate on issues of high importance and can help test issues using Amazon's innovation process. Here you harness the technology of AWS, and any nonprofit institutions, education services, or government departments can register to work on an assignment. Okay, so what is a culture of innovation? Amazon, as an example, aims to be the world's most customer centric organization, and they do this to 4 main customer sets: consumers, sellers, enterprises, and content creators. So, characteristics of innovative culture. So, there are 4 characteristics: hire builders, fail fast, work backwards, and 2 pizza teams. Hire builders is where you obviously hire builders with different backgrounds and points of view in order to make decisions. Fail fast is where you try all possibilities and be accepting of failure. Working backwards is where you constantly drive customer centric, ingenious thinking, and it's used to make sure that the product is what the customer needs. 2 pizza teams is where you hire efficient workers in order to minimize communication and unnecessary meetings. It is named 2 pizza teams as an innovation team should require no more than 2 pizzas to feed a small and efficient team. So basically, what this is saying is that it's better to have quality of small team members, or like a small amount of team members, over just a large amount of team members for nothing. That's basically what 2 pizza teams means. All right, something to remember here is that the formula for innovation is that culture plus people plus tools and mechanisms. So all of these 3 things come together to form innovation. All right, so I have a video here again for all of the videos that are going to be um, in this live stream. It's just going to be in the description of the live stream once it's ended. So you can go watch it there for more information. All right, next we're going to be talking about the 5 W's of innovation at Amazon. So it's what is innovation, where does it take place, who innovates, when does one innovate, and why innovate in the first place. So for what is innovation? It's the successful integration of new thoughts into society. It takes place everywhere and can range from inventing something to improving it. Who innovates? Everyone. Innovation is the way one goes about their work. When does one innovate? Every day. So it occurs because of ongoing events and unexpected circumstances. And finally, why innovate? Because everything depends on it, and innovation creates new opportunities in order to serve customers effectively. All right, we have two models of innovation here, the continuous and the discontinuous development. There are numerous models, each with pros and cons, and a way to categorize them is separating it across a continuum of both continuous and discontinuous. So, continuous. So, innovation is described as incremental, evolutionary, and reactive. So, you can see over here, we have a graph that basically shows infancy to adulthood, and it's just going like a smooth slope, and it's a more linear type change. And then on the other hand, we have discontinuous, which is like disruptive, revolutionary, and transformative. So it's like steps, and it's non-linear, abrupt changes. All right, now for the actual innovation process. So it's the most common process. The most common process to uphold innovation is known as working backwards. This depends on working deliberately according to the goal and shared thoughts. It's constantly injecting innovation into independent and teamwork. It requires working backwards from the customer and meaning to it means to constantly come back to the customer's ideas for solving problems when needed. Over here, you're going to try to work repetitively and continually reevaluate the problem at hand in order to solve it the best way. Okay, working intentionally. So this is both intentful and determined, and it siphons AWS's customer obsession into solving a certain conflict. Organizations work specifically to make sure that their business decisions are orderly managed. Teams work purposely together, and individual workers take the lead and ownership of their own efforts in order to optimize innovation. We have two starting places for working intentionally, which is the vision and the mental models. So, for the vision, it's an idea of how certain things could be contrasting to how they are currently. It's where contradicting conventional wisdom, and it's rigid on the vision but relaxed on the specifics. The mental models is the basic ideas that act as the base for generating ideas. It raises ideas from the ground up and provides them with superior direction. It's formed as a statement of cause and effect, and it creates new ideas. New ideas. All right, working backwards. So this is again made up of five customer questions. Who is the customer? What is their problem or opportunity? What is the most important customer benefit? How do you know what the customers want or need? And what does the customer experience using the product look like? The objective of these questions is to maintain the customer's importance and keep them involved in the innovation process at all times. Another video, which is going to be in the description of the live stream once it's ended.
So my
All right, working iteratively. So the innovation process becomes iterative, especially during execution. Many ideas never get past the analysis phase, and execution is when an organization chooses to commit to an idea. As a result of this, they will hire a leader and a committed team, and successful execution leads to experimentation. Experimentation is the heart of success. However, the research that takes place must be limited to answering specific questions related to serving customers. It's made of one-way doors, so the decisions are difficult to return to once they have been made, and two-way doors are where decisions are reversible, and they're made quickly by superior groups and high-level individuals, since obviously they're reversible and won't be much of a problem if the wrong decision is made. All right, where do ideas come from? So we have four here: expertise and a beginner's mind, irrational optimism and grit, listening and imaging, and history and science fiction. So for expertise and a beginner's mind, opening a mind influences perspective and helps new ideas emerge. It prevents personal bias, assumptions, and limitations. For irrational optimism and grit, ideas that are not commonly accepted shouldn't be neglected immediately. And resilience is extremely important as it helps one make their good idea a reality. It's important to note here that being misunderstood is not always a negative. Now we have listening and imaging. So ideas come from visualizing a customer's idea before they can do so to themselves. Listening and imaging helps to get to know the customer and put yourself in their shoes. And a great amount of AWS's ideas came from actually listening to customers themselves. And then finally, history and science fiction. So ideas can come from a combination of failure and success and can be inspired from external sources. Okay, we're going to be talking about what is a PRFAQ now. So PRFAQ stands for Press Release and Frequently Asked Questions. A press release is a one-page narrative that describes AWS's vision using customer-centric language. And press release or PR is used to envision how the customer is actually going to react to the product. It helps to sort through ideas and ensure that ideas are worthy of investment. Okay, now for elements of the PRFAQ. So it's a skill that takes practice to master, and it's known as a crafting process due to the draft and edit system used. it's a share plan. In order to have a successful peer FAQ, sir, you have to share a plan early for feedback from your superiors. They're developed to answer questions that a customer may have, and there are two types: the customer and the stakeholder FAQ. So the customer FAQ is where you imagine that you're the customer and you write questions and answers that a real customer would have. And then stakeholder FAQ is where it's basically questions your superiors or partners may ask. It is crucial to identify difficult questions early when working backwards and incorporate these as both customer and stakeholder FAQs when possible. Now, what is a visual? So, a visual allows one to explore customer experience. It's used to show how the customer would use the product and how they want to use it. As the project matures, the visual can become more detailed, and visual presentation is how pictures, images, and diagrams express ideas. And it maximizes the effectiveness of a presentation. All right, another video which is going to be found in the description. All right, now I have an example of a visual that I'm going to walk you through. So the first comics slide starts with a guy saying, "Today I need to go to municipality to issue the address proof certificate." And obviously, you can see in the black subtitles, it's like basically pointing out what part of the visual it is, so what the problem looks like. The next one is when the guy goes and he realizes that due to COVID-19 precautionary measures, most of the services should be applied to online, and the customer needs to visit the place due to due to COVID-19, he's not allowed. So the next one is where he goes to a new chatbot service and basically does what he needs to do and accesses it. Then he collects a certificate, and the system is working and providing a great input. So basically, this entire comic is just showing how you need to address a problem and obviously leave the customer satisfied and happy in the end. All right, now we're going to be talking about Amazon leadership principles. These principles have been incorporated in Amazon since 2002, and it explains how Amazon as a corporation conducts business. It explains how leaders manage and how decisions are formed for customers. The 17 principles, I'm going to list them. Number 1, customer obsession. Number 2, ownership. Number 3, invent and simplify. Number 4, write a lot. Number 5, learn and be curious. Number 6, hire and develop the best. Number 7, deliver results. Number 8, insist on the high standards. Number 9, think big. Number 10, bias for action. Number 11, frugality. Number 12, earn trust. Number 13, dive deep. Number 14, have backbone, disagree, and commit. Number 15, deliver results. Number 16, try to be the greatest employer. And finally, number 17, success and scope bring great responsibility. And we're going to be going in more detail on those. So the first two is customer obsession and ownership. So for customer obsession, leaders begin with consumers and work backwards. And they work diligently to maintain customer trust. They focus on customers and keep competition under a close eye as well. The skills required for this are humility and empathy. For ownership, it's leaders equals owners, and it's where you plan for the future and do not sacrifice the future for immediate gain. This represents the entire company, and you want to take the initiative to help out in order to show ownership. The skills required for this are persistence and integrity. And we have a quote here from the CEO of Amazon, which basically says the number one thing that has made the corporation successful by far is obsessive compulsive focus on the customer, which is customer obsession. All right, the next ones are invent and simplify and write a lot. So invent and simplify is where workers are required to provide innovation and invention to their work. They always work to simplify matters, and leaders constantly search for new and innovative ideas. The skills required for this are diligence, flexibility, and being misunderstood. That's actually a skill required here. For write a lot, leaders have good judgment and intuition, and they look for different perspectives and work to disprove beliefs. The skills required for this are humility and optimism. Another video in the description. All right, the final part of our presentation: learn and be curious and hire and develop the best. So, for learn and be curious, leaders are never satisfied and always look to improve themselves. They're curious about new opportunities, and the skills needed for this are the ability to learn and the ability to be diligent or conscientious. Hire and develop the best just shows acknowledging outstanding work and willingly promoting the people who show outstanding work. This is where leaders create other leaders and seriously consider their coaching of others. The skills required for this are the ability to have courage and invest. All right, delivering results and insisting on the high standards. So for delivering results, it's where one keys in on the main suggestions, and despite problems, they try to persevere and never settle. The skills required for this are the ability to be committed and deliver. Next is insisting on the high standards. So this is where leaders have incredibly high standards and are constantly looking for more and motivating their team to produce superb products. The skills required for this are being exceptional and uncompromised. Now we have thinking big and bias for action. So for thinking big, leaders encourage broad thinking and ambition across the working place at all times. The skills required for this is innovation and optimism. For bias for action, speed is very important in business, and as a result, calculated risk taking is a valuable skill. And the skills required for this is obviously risk taking and speed. Frugality and earning trust. So frugality is where you maximize your spending efficiency, and limits lead to resourcefulness and clever thinking. The skills required for this are creativity and adaptability. For earning trust, leaders must listen, speak, and treat others respectfully. They must know that their employees are imperfect, and the skills required for this are trust and honesty. All right, now we have diving deep and having a backbone. For diving deep, leaders conduct business at all levels and are up to date on all details. They're expected to push through any problem that they may face as no task is under them, and the skills required for this are detail oriented and demystifying. Having a backbone, disagree, and commit. This is where leaders have to make tough decisions, and they have a strong view and are ruthless when need to be. The skills required for this is conviction and cohesion. And now we have delivering results and trying to be the best employer possible. So for delivering results, it's viewed by employees as a highly important principle. Here you rise to the occasion and you try to be a leader and you deliver results for certain products. You also take responsibility for ideas that you have created for an actual product. And you also try to be the best employer possible. So you want to be a leader that has the objective of making their work environment a cooperative and safe place. And employees have to be able to share their ideas respectfully with others. Employers must make sure that employees are all growing, empathized for, empowered, and ready for what's next. Success and scope bring great responsibility. So the size of a company matters, and it's because it gives them power over consumers. Since Amazon, as an example, is one of the largest companies on planet Earth, it has the ability to empower customers and gives power to the commander of the company. And this basically helps the company expand beyond its size at the moment. All right, so that is it for innovation. Thank you for watching. All the videos that were in the slideshow, once again, are going to be posted in the description as to when I end it. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in our next video where we talk about AWS startups.